Ron and Alden. Hey, Ron, good morning.
Good morning. I just heard in your update about Frank Cervelli said something about he believes Purka will be traded before Friday. Do you know how rumors are?
He said, I think we see a J.J. Purka trade materialize between now and the NHL draft.
Which is Friday.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yep.
What are we doing here? So we get rid of all our young players all the time, and I'm not even going back as far as Eichel or Reinhart. We got rid of Cousins last year. We're building these players that I love his players. I doubt Purka might go, and we might not be able to keep Power or doubting both of them. So or we need this player. I mean, we're trading all these guys, and we're just spinning our circle. We're going in circles, and it's just getting tiring. And it's build something here, or if you're going to trade these guys, make a giant trade, 3 of them in one big package, and get something good. I mean, I don't know. It's just getting frustrating. I know it's not even July yet, and I'm just I'm not even looking forward to the Sabres season this year. I was so looking forward to last year when Ruff came back, because I said, all right, here's a guy who can do it. But all we're doing is trading everybody, and we're not getting it. Josh Norris, I don't know who he is. I mean, what are we doing here? I'm sorry to start the week off this way, but Jeepers Creepers, this is getting stupid now. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thanks, Ron. I think you're overselling how often they trade away young players. I think that they're marked by not trading away enough young players. And they finally traded Savoy for Ryan McLeod. And sure, they trade Cousins for he's 24. The guy they got is 26.
Yeah.
I think you're big time overselling this idea that all they do is trade people. Because when I think of the Sabres, I think all they do is not do enough. Trading and not doing. Last year, they actually, in the last 2 years, Middlestat, Savoy, Cousins, they actually made some trades.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it's all dump trades and get pieces in and have 3 first-round picks and not trade their picks, and can they possibly trade a prospect away? Both the Savoy trade and the Cousins trade ultimately felt like they had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
We'd reached a timeline where you have to trade somebody out of your prospect pool, and they did. And you had to trade Cousins. It is dead here. You have to do it. And they got Josh Norris, who, if he's healthy, he's great. Should be very good, and one of the best players. He's their highest paid forward. So, if they trade Purka and Byram, I do not think that those are.
Those aren't prospects. Those are different.
Those are NHL players, and to me, it would represent action. So, I like Purka a lot, and I would love it if he were here, but if he wants to go and they can get appropriate value, then okay. They're not looking for picks or prospects. I don't know. I feel like to say they're spinning in circles, sure.
They are.
We know that, but I'd settle for bigger circles. 8th, 14th, 8th, 14th. Well, instead of just constantly 12th.
That's also okay, what are you really risking by trading Purka? Not to say you're risking nothing. Let's break it down. What are you risking? You're risking losing. He's a very good player. Yeah. Very good scorer, very good offensive player that you might think even has another step in him somewhere along the way. That's a good player. It's a good player you're risking losing for if you go trade him in a package that brings you back something else that's on the NHL roster. You're going to assume some risk of that. What's the Cousins trade? The Cousins trade, what was the risk in that? Cousins maybe someday was going to figure it out, although I don't think that was ever going to happen here, and you're acquiring a player who might never be healthy for you, and is under contract till the sun burns out. So that's your risk. I'm going to need to know what they trade Purka for. If they trade him and don't get anything that makes an impact on the roster next year, my risk is I had a team that wasn't that good in the first place, and my risk is that I'm going to be even worse than I was. I like Purka too. Is he the catalyst for me going from 24th in the league to the playoffs? Maybe he is. Maybe there is a huge step in him somewhere, but that's not to make it sound like they could do anything and it doesn't matter because they've been bad. But I'm just not really in the mood to say anything on this team is worth freaking out about them trading away. They have been... this group specifically, go post Eichel and Reinhart, this group specifically has been letting them down for, it's 6 years now. 5 years. Some of them are different. Purka, it's 3, right?
I might go off of the group's been letting them down and start to say the team has been letting these groups down, because that's consistently what does happen. Who did Eichel and Reinhart and that group let them down, or did they let them down? Like the Sabres let them down?
No, the Sabres let them down.
And then this
group, I'm not as sure about that one.
Right,
I think Thompson and Dahlin, I would absolutely give that.
I've not let them down. That's right. Purka did not last year. I mean, Cousins, sure, guy had a bad year. They traded him away.
Yeah,
but I mean, the Sabres have been letting this. Whatever. The Sabres have been letting their young talent down for a while and not supplementing enough. And now they have a couple of veterans. I don't know. Like, we are at such a. I don't think it's worth yelling about anything that they haven't done yet. That's what I'll say. What's the point to yell about a thing that they haven't done? They have not traded Purka. And if they trade Purka and get a really nice return, you might be happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the guys they've traded away.
If they do trade him for. It doesn't sound like they would do this, but if they did trade him for like a pick and a prospect, then I think you're right to freak out. Because that's ridiculous if they were to do that. But I don't think they're going to.
When's the last time, I don't know, like it's going to be different for every person, but when they traded Middlestat for Byram, what was the general feeling? Good? That's good?
Felt like you got to do that.
Okay. What I'm looking for is like, imagine them winning the Purka trade. What's that look like? What does it look like? Doesn't it feel like here's what I'd like: trade 2 players for 1.
That's what it looks like.
That's how I think you can find a way to you won the trade. 2 for 1, not 1 for 2, but you trade 2 for 1. The best player comes back this way in a trade, where undisputedly that happens in a trade. When's the last time that happened? The Sabres undisputedly got the best player back in a trade. When was it? And don't make it like a pick.
No,
I mean, McLeod for Savoy is almost a little hard to do there. McLeod plays.
Well, I mean that
he plays in the league, and Savoy doesn't play in the league. I'm talking the Purka trade. You are going to get the better player back.
Mm-hmm.
That means you've traded an NHL player in a deal, and the best NHL player comes this way. The last time the Buffalo Sabres did that, where no one would dispute, the best player comes this way, is what trade?
Is it Ryan O'Reilly? That is more than 10 years ago.
Kane, O'Reilly,
Norris, if he's healthy, I think is a better player than Cousins.
That's an if.
I've got to put an if on that.
Right.
But that's why that trade, when it's done, is, all right, this has the potential for it. You got the best player in this trade.
You're betting on he's better if he stays healthy.
But when's the last time? I mean, even like the Savoy from a McLeod trade was, all right, that's a top prospect you've given up for a third-line center. He's a good player. He's got to sign too, by the way. The Sabres have not signed him. Well, they will. The idea will be after July 1st. But when's the last time?
Because if it's not O'Reilly,
it's Kane. You send out Tyler Myers in that trade. You get Kane back.
That's before the O'Reilly trade.
Right.
So
okay, before that. When is it? I mean, we're saying that Jason Botterill never made a trade where the best player came this way?
I don't know that he ever made... I mean, he traded for Marco Scandella. Although, no, Marcus Foligno actually has had a nice career in Minnesota. I wouldn't say that. And that's such a minor trade anyway. Who kind of cares about it?
Right. For Kevin Adams, the trades early on were about sending the best player out and getting a package of pieces you hope comes back. That's the O'Reilly trade, although Botterill made that one.
Right.
That's the O'Reilly trade. The Eichel trade. You get nice pieces back. That's fine. But doesn't it feel like it's almost like we want the Sabres to have the offseason that we also said the Bills were supposed to have, but the Bills need it less. The Bills didn't go out and get their whale. They don't really need that whale. They can go out and just kind of supplement and eat their vegetables and be fine. And maybe some of those players turn into great players. But for the Sabres here, what if I sent you Purka for? You want to get stupid?
Go ahead.
Ottinger. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Sabres say, you know what? Enough of this. We're going to get an established best goalie. That's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing they haven't done.
If we find our way to an established goalie that rocks. Last year we were talking about Hellebuck because he was unhappy.
Sure.
I don't know who that is, but...
No, you picked the right name. I mean, his coach that hates him got fired.
Right, so he's probably not leaving.
He's probably okay.
So that's why I said let's get stupid.
But they do have guys to pay, and he's got a huge contract, and if they were unhappy with both pieces, then maybe it's possible.
It's just I'm looking for, I don't want you to be mad about the Purka trade until you get the undisputed best player back in the deal for him. Mike writes in, Byram for Mitts. Byram is clearly a better player. I don't necessarily agree with that at all.
I don't know if I wouldn't say clearly. I think both have kind of been letdowns since, right? I mean, clearly, Colorado sent him away for not much.
I know
so
Middlestat didn't work in Colorado, but that's a team that is willing to move on from their players. Like,
right?
You want to say Byram's clearly better? All right, he's leaving. He's probably getting traded. And are you going to get the clearly better player in that deal? I don't know. Contracts, all that stuff comes in.
We'll see. Like, that's where, like, even if you won that one, how much did you win it by?
Not
like because Middlestat ended up flaming out in Colorado, and what did he get traded for? He got traded for Sean Walker. No, that's a different deal. Like a pick? I'm trying to find it. But, like, okay, so what? I'm going to get more for Byram than Colorado got for Middlestat, and if it's the difference of, like, a second-round pick, do I really care about it?
I don't know. I also think there's plenty of case to be made that you would rather have Middlestat than Byram right now.
So,
like, don't I need more help at center than I need on defense? I mean, Byram plays well when he's with Dahlin. When he's not, there's not really much there. Like, that's not an asset that I think of too much of.
Yeah, the Avalanche got Charlie Coyle, who's like a 40-point guy.
Yeah.
Just like a middle of your lineup.
Charlie Coyle, who is like 38.
30. He's 33.
33, okay.
He feels like 38.
The reason he feels like 38 is he's on the all-team of, should the Sabres sign this player? No, the timeline's not right. He's a little too old. And here he is.
And that was probably like 7 years ago that we were doing that.
Right. We did that a lot.
So, like, they might trade Byram for a guy like that right now.
Be fine.
That wouldn't be that.
Be fine by me.
32, 33-year-old player that's pretty good is going to play in the middle of your lineup. Like, isn't that what you should probably expect that they would move him for? They're not getting a star in return. As much as I love the idea of this, hey, put them together. Put Byram and Purka together. I don't know. I don't know how many deals you're going to find like that out there. I would be surprised if they're able to land a deal like that. In part because you're right, like it is not a trade that they really make, but it is one that they have to. I don't know how much influence Kekalainen really has on this, but I hope he has a lot because that is more the type of deal I feel like he was going for when he was in Columbus. And if there's a guy in that room that is making Adams just feel a little bit more comfortable about, yeah, okay, I'm going to give up the farm for one guy, then maybe I should treat this as a little bit of a different situation just with having that guy in the room. I mean, what are you hiring a senior advisor for? Isn't it stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Making him feel more comfortable about ideas that you should pull the trigger on this. It's a big swing. It's a big move. You're taking a risk. You could get some heat, but go do it.
Thanks, Ron, for the phone call. I guess my only advice would be there's plenty of time to get mad about this trade if it happens. I just don't think the time is before it happens, when it might not even happen.
Right, it might not.
803-0550. Is there a goalie out there? Would they even do it?
I was just looking at goalie depth charts in the league.
Or is it UPL makes 5 and Levi we can't block and we're just going to ride with them again, which, last season that was a gamble. And what'd they do? They turned to James Reimer in big moments a couple times.
Yeah. Well, how are we going to feel if they acquire a goaltender for Purka, say? It's not like a star. He's not Hellebuck. He's not Ottinger. He's like a guy who's pretty good, and maybe you feel more confident in that than Luukkonen, but you're not like sure that the guy is, because they're not getting Ottinger or Hellebuck or somebody that's going to be a lock-solid number one. Like, I don't think those guys come available.
Oh, and who should they get? Jake Allen, free agency?
Yeah, Jake Allen's a name I thought about a lot this offseason. Just as you say that, Joe, I'm thinking, there's not a lot of those guys in the league, period.
Yeah.
It's pretty much those elite guys and then everybody else. And if you've got one of those everybody else, I don't know how much better off you are getting rid of a Purka for another replacement level guy. I don't think you're improving anything there. You're taking the same amount of risk on a goalie that hasn't proven that they can consistently be a number one. I don't think that would be if they're targeting goalie and Purka deals, it needs to be a legit, you're probably packaging Purka with a pick or a prospect or something to get a top of the line prospect.
Like, how are we going to feel if they trade Purka for Jordan Binnington?
Yeah, I'm not into that. I like Binnington fine, maybe a little better than UPL.
Boy, I picked the wrong name for you.
But there's just not I don't trust Binnington enough
Yeah.
Swayman
was just what I was going to mention because he had a bad year, and he has had like, didn't they have a very contentious contract situation last year?
That was gnarly. Like, and missed some of training camp,
and then he had a horrible year.
Yeah,
like
I could swing myself to that because Swayman has the upper echelon to become that. He's still young enough that I think he could be what they need in terms of.
But aren't they going to just, rather than gamble there, just say, like, Luukkonen will find it?
Yes. I think that there's.
But that is most things with them, isn't it?
Right.
Isn't, like, we'll go round and around talking about potential Purka trades, and maybe he'll get dealt in Byram and, like, all the free agents. This is a deep free agency pool. And what is most likely with them most times? They'll do the status quo.
Yeah. I can't see them finding their way to something that they feel that much better about than UPL and Levi, that they would make a move and sacrifice another piece to do it.
By the way,
don't see it.
Swayman has 7 years left at $8.25 million. He has no trade protection until July 1st.
Well, there is no chance they're picking up a contract of $56 million on a goalie.
I think that's probably right, too.
No chance.
I mean, isn't that the money they would have earmarked for Purka?
No. Well, no.
No?
No. $56 million on a goalie? And they don't we think they signed Luukkonen because it's cost certainty at 25?
Well, they'll send
5 for 5.
What if I'm sending Luukkonen back?
I just don't think they're going to.
Because then you're equaling the money somewhat. Like, you're cutting it in half, basically.
Yeah. There's also the Samuelsson buyout conversation.
Did I see something about that over the weekend?
Yeah, you did.
That they're looking at that and also a trade. I'm just liking that they're even looking at the buyout option because to me, sure, if you can trade him, I'd take whatever you can get. But buying him out is so cheap that is to me far more beneficial than having him play another game for this team. If we do our, played his last game for the Buffalo Sabres draft, I feel like Samuelsson went up the board this weekend.
803-0550 to join us. Sabres offseason, it is upon us, and the draft is Friday. So get excited. Jeremy and Joe, you can give us a ring, 803-0550 here on WGR.